A couple of human students getting judged for their magical skills. A princess asks them to save the kingdom of reincarnated because she must ask for their help. A boy questions if he got teleported to a fantasy world. We learn that this is a 27-year-old male named Makoto Tsuyoshi, and his skill delves with online grocery. Reincarnated's king confronts our heroes. He informs them that the demon king has attacked his kingdom numerous times. He asks them to defeat him and informs them that he may hold information on how they can return to their world. Makoto thinks this is suspicious. So he asks the king if he can live a mundane life here. The king gives him 20 coins and sends him away. Makoto visits a shop to buy clothes to avoid suspicion from citizens of his otherworldly presence. He rents a place to stay and opens his status menu to read about his skill set in the world. Upon shouting "online grocery," he is taken to a menu with a bunch of food and beverages. Makoto purchases some goods, and they magically appear before him. Despite his earlier grievances with the skill, Makoto realizes its significance. As long as he has money, he doesn't need to worry about food. Furthermore, he can use his online grocery skill to make money. However, Makoto's more focused on leaving this fantasy world. Makoto leaves his room and travels with a soap merchant to renew. Makoto and the merchant discuss unobtainable skills like appraisal and ancient relics. Makoto tells the merchant that he plans to cross the border. The merchant informs him that's a smart move since the kingdom of reincarnated is rumored to undergo vast destruction. The border's set to be closed soon, worrying Makoto. When he arrives at his destination, he learns that the stagecoach has stopped servicing customers. He speaks with some locals about the situation. He learns they've stopped the service so people can't flee to neighboring countries. A gentleman tells him if people fled, the army's size would decrease. Another one tells him that the kingdom of reincarnated plans to wage war against other territories. Makoto travels to the Adventurers Guild in town to place a request for an escort mission to the kingdom of Venan. He doesn't want to travel alone for fear of being attacked by monsters. The guild cashier tells him it would take days to complete and will cost him 8 gold coins since the stagecoach is suspended. Makoto gives her the money, and the girl asks a party run by Werner to accept Makoto's request. Werner tells Makoto that he'll be happy to accept his request but must consult with his party members. Makoto promises to provide them with food if they help him. The next morning Werner meets up with Makoto and introduces his comrades Vincent, Rita, Ramon, and Franca. They all share different classes, from mages to healers. After traveling a bit, they rest at a nearby tree. Makoto prepares supper for them and catches Vincent's and Rita's eyes. He used his online grocery skill to purchase a magic stove that would have cost him 50 gold coins. Everyone huddles together at a table to dine on Makoto's food. They enjoy it and thank Makoto for his kindness and craftsmanship. They continue traveling and encounter various beasts along the way. Vincent and Werner fight them off and get healed by Franca. They defeat a boar. And Rita skins it for its parts. Werner confirms red boar skins and horns can be sold for a high price. Although the meat can be hit or miss, Makoto puts some of it in his item box. Makoto and the crew hold an early feast for the day. He asks them not to observe his cooking process because he can feel embarrassed. In reality, he doesn't want them to discover he's using cheaper ingredients. Despite the cheap ingredients, the crew enjoys his dish and requests seconds. Everyone shares how the food is helping them recover from some ailments like fatigue. Makoto swiftly opens his status menu to see if he can use the appraisal skill. He runs into a parameter issue and realizes his meal has increased his ally's stamina and magic powers too much. This is because the ingredients he used came from another world. Makoto worries someone will discover the truth about his antics. The gang continues their journey in the morning as Werner says they'll reach Venan and the border shortly. They rest in the forest. And Makoto plans to cook the red boar meat. Alone, Makoto vows to keep the ingredients he uses from online grocery a secret from others. Makoto finishes the dish, and the others dig in. They're flabbergasted by how great it tastes. Makoto tells the others that the vegetables he used for the meal are called cabbage. Everyone starts freaking out because a giant wolf standing behind Makoto. Werner says it's a Fenrir, as it demands them to let it eat the meal. Makoto gives it a plate of it, and Fenrir eats it. He demands more to our hero's displeasure. Makoto asks Fenrir if he can give him some time to cook up another plate. Fenrir accepts Makoto's wishes, and he starts cooking up another plate. We get a montage of Makoto cooking up more plates for the beast as it demands more. Eventually, Fenrir tells Makoto he's full and thanks him for the meals. Fenrir tells Makoto that he'll form a familiar contract with Makoto as a gift. Although Makoto doesn't want to accept the offer, Fenrir intimidates him. Makoto walks over to Fenrir and forms the contract. Now Makoto's obligated to look after him. The episode concludes with Makoto feeling nervous about his new contractual obligation. Makoto granted the Fenrir creature the name Fel. In the morning, Werner and company continue traveling to the border, but they're afraid of what the commoners will say when they see Fel. The problem is that Fenrirs have laid waste to countries before. Werner tells Makoto that the guards won't take kindly to Makoto's newfound contract with Fel. Fel promises Makoto that he'll protect him from danger. The gang decides to camp out somewhere to dine on more of Makoto's food. Luckily, he stored some red boar meat somewhere. Fel asks Makoto to cook him that meat, but Makoto tells him to hunt for meat in the woods. Fel complies and brings back a dead rockbird's corpse. Werner and his comrades state that it's a strong beast with beaks and claws that can fetch a high price. Makoto asks the others to help him carve the rockbird's parts. Then, he coats and cooks the meat. When complete, he hands the food to the others and makes Fel some food. After eating, the gang heads to the kingdom of Vinen's border and arrives there. They get stopped by the kingdom's gatekeepers, who refuse to let them in because of Fel. Fel persuades the gatekeepers that he won't cause them any harm as long as they don't harm his comrades. It appears Fel can communicate with other humans besides Makoto. The guard lets them through but asks Makoto to keep Fel under control. After obtaining their guild cards, the gang enters the kingdom of Vinen. Makoto tells Werner he'd like to travel to multiple places because deep down, he wants to explore this universe and make profits with online grocery. Werner says Makoto should consider joining a merchant or adventurer's guild since it'll aid him on his quest. Ultimately, they state that he should wait to decide until they reach the town. Marquis Rindle's servant approaches Makoto and tells him that Marquis wants him to visit his residence. Although his servant tries egging him on to meet the Marquis, Fel steps in and scares him away. Fel tells Werner and the others that no one, besides a dragon, can match him in strength. He says this to calm Makoto down in case he's worried about going against the Marquis's wishes. Werner and his gang give Makoto a contract to sign to prove they've completed their mission. Makoto and Fel share their goodbyes as Makoto plans to register at the Adventurer and Merchants Guild. He tells Fel they can make money by having him hunt for food and selling the praise parts for cash. Makoto and Fel enter the Merchants Guild, where they receive a breakdown of how it works. Guilds have 5 levels based on annual taxes and fees. He tells her he'd like to open up a store or stall, and she gives him an iron rank guild card. He promises to revisit this place to sell some goods. Makoto and Fel head near the inn so that Makoto can cook Fel some food. Fel enjoys each of Makoto's dishes. Each is coated with different sauce toppings. Makoto makes a meal for himself and enjoys it. In the morning, he revisits the Merchants Guild to sell some items. The lady checks it and tells him to meet with her guild master. The guild master tells him that the salt and pepper he tried selling is something the king of Vinen would want to get his hands on, delighting Makoto. He asks Makoto where he got these from. And Makoto tells him he found them during his journey, which is a lie. The guild master makes him several offers that aren't to Makoto's liking because of how much it cost him via online grocery. He settles on the master's 17 gold coin offer, though. Makoto visits the Adventurers Guild next to register, and the counter lady hands him a contract nonchalantly. The woman tells him he'll start as a G-rank adventurer and can only tackle G and F-rank missions. He asks for more info, and she tells him adventurers are ranked from G to S. G-rank missions must be completed in 1 month, and the guild isn't responsible for the adventurer's death, injury, or loss incurred during a mission. Makoto visits the quest board and accepts a herb collecting mission. Before he embarks to complete the mission, Makoto feeds Fel some more food. Makoto checks Fel's stats and is impressed by how high they are. Fel getting fed up with Makoto because he's choosing his herb gathering mission over making him food. During his mission, Fel places a protective barrier over Makoto since he's going hunting for some meat. Fel departs, and Makoto starts plucking weeds. Makoto finishes his mission early and prepares dinner for him and Fel. Fel returns with a dead rock bird. Fel wants Makoto to make him the teriyaki platter like last time, but Makoto crafts up some spaghetti for them to eat. Fel adores the meal, while Makoto's grateful that he can eat meals from the human world. After eating, Fel leads Makoto to his stack of dead monster meat. And Makoto uses his RPG skills to store them in a safe place. Makoto and Fel return to the Adventurers Guild to hand in the herbs for the mission. The Adventurer Guild cashier is surprised that he brought more than he expected. Makoto asks her where he can sell some dead monsters. And the lady points him toward the guild butcher. The butcher and Makoto head to a secret location, and the butcher's bewildered by all the beasts' corpses. The butcher skins the orc meat upon Fel's request. At night, Makoto ponders what to do with the orc meat. Makoto makes 2 versions of pork piccata with the orc meat and adds some meat sauce they had left over with the spaghetti dish. Fel loves the food. Despite his hesitation about eating orc, Makoto chomps away and winds up loving it. They return to the butcher, who has completed the skinning process of all the beasts Makoto brought in. He hands Makoto his change for the monster parts and says he took some cash away to pay for the dismantle fee. Makoto earned 202 gold coins for the monsters he sold. The butcher lectures Makoto on monster parts and what attributes they can grant him. He hands Makoto some demonic stones and says they contain magical powers. Makoto plans to refer to Fel as a great wolf to people to avoid having them stare at them. The two leave the border to continue exploring. Midway through their outing, they set up camp. Makoto plans to make a larger feast for them since Fel helped him secure a lot of money. Makoto makes his meals from his universe, and Fel's satisfied with the taste. After chatting about their differing world customs, they finish eating. Fel feels his dish today has given him immense strength. He might be capable of defeating an ancient dragon now. Fel plans to hunt for more monsters and places a powerful protective barrier on Makoto while he's away. He promises this one's capable of defending him against a dragon's breath. Makoto builds himself a futon to rest for the night. Meanwhile, Fel goes on a killing spree and is impressed by his enhanced feats. In the morning, Makoto's surprised by the high-level monster Fel murdered. Fel informs him that some of these monsters would have taken a long time to beat, but his food helped him defeat them in one hit. The episode concludes with Makoto vowing not to feed Fel anything like that ever again.